Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Cancer for July 2018. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com. Check out my new and full moon blogs that assist you with maximizing those transits, and also lots of other astrology and other blogs to help support you. Also, if you'd like to learn astrology with me, I may have some slots left in my astrology apprenticeship program. So you can check that out at anniehelpsyou.com. So what's going on in the month of July? We have a crazy action-packed, astrologically charged month. 2 eclipses, plus a 3rd eclipse in August, which you could also feel the manifestations of this month. We have Jupiter going direct. We have Mars still in retrograde. We have Mercury going into retrograde. And for many of you, you have birthdays. So happy birthday to you. And if you are watching for your rising sign, you'll have the sun moving over your ascendant, which is very much a rebirth and a time that we have a similar experience as birthday time with newness and, you know, a lot of fresh new energy. So if you'd like to learn more about how you can best utilize your birthday wishes, these astrological power periods that we have are so amazing for creation, then do a search for Annie Making Wishes Come True, and you'll find my video that talks specifically about how to use your birthday wishes and other power periods. Okay, so let's break this down. Let's start to talk about some of the things that have been happening for you. We've had this theme, if you've been watching my reports for a while, where people with Cancer placements are going through this major awakening. We've got one of these eclipses is in your sign. We've got an activation of energy, especially as it relates to you and your relationship with other people. Your relationship with other people and yourself is going under a major transformation, and in many cases already you might not recognize how you were in relationship and in general versus where you used to be. So this is a very exciting time where you're learning to have more energetic autonomy in certain areas, and then you're learning to go deeper into relationship in other areas. So you're kind of cutting out the dysfunction, on a mission to cut out the dysfunction so that you can have relationships that are serving all parties better. Okay, so this is a theme that's been going on for a while and that is going to continue. And so I'm calling the theme of this month, Breaking Out of the Matrix. And the reason is because where this lunar eclipse is going to hit energetically is taking you out of old family paradigms, old dynamics that have been present for all of this life. And if you believe in past lives, it preceded this lifetime, or if you're looking at it from the ancestral standpoint, it's fascinating to look at family charts when you look at yourself and your parents and you're like a line, like look at you and your mom and your grandma, and like look at the stories that are passed down, that people are working things out from this bloodline. It's really fascinating to look at, and this is what we're talking about here, that these things that you're working with that are stodgy, that have been slow to move, a lot of those things are cracking open in recent times, especially this year. There's just been this amazing momentum for breaking you out of the matrix. So this eclipse that's going to occur, the one on July 27th in particular, well actually really the whole series, is going to help you to move along those lines. So let's talk about these eclipses. There are 3 eclipses, 2 of them are in July, 1 is in August. July 12th, we have a partial solar eclipse in your sign. When you have an eclipse in your sign, it's a really big deal. So especially those of you who are later in the sign, like closer to 20 degrees or like towards the end of the sign, if you have planets anywhere between 15 degrees and 25 degrees especially, are going to be most affected by this eclipse, but all of you will be affected by it. This is a new way of being that is emerging. And I talk about more of the implications of where this first eclipse on July 12th is hitting in the June report, because we can often really feel these eclipse manifestations 4 to 6 and maybe even more sometimes weeks before. So in June, I talk about the first eclipse on the 12th. This month, I'm going to talk about the July 27th eclipse at 4, almost 5 degrees Aquarius, and then the August eclipse, I'll talk about more in the August report. But in general, grouping them together, you're having all of these things open up with yourself and your relationships. So things closing, things opening, things restructuring. So something may be ending, a relationship with someone you worked with or worked for, a financial agreement, something involving inheritances, something involving money from anywhere, shared resources. And things will be opening up then in the sector of your own financial independence and autonomy. Okay, so eclipses happen over cycles. So we've been in a major Leo Aquarius eclipse since the beginning of 2017 into 2019. And in this time, yourself, your money, how you are with your money, your shared resources, yourself, others, all of this is being completely restructured, as we talked about. So there's more momentum along these lines. Something else that's happening is that Jupiter is waking up. Jupiter is the great benefic, he's called, the bringer of optimism and luck and growth and expansion. So he's been in retrograde for 4 months. In the beginning of July, he wakes up and starts to go back to doing more obvious work in the sector that he is moving through. So he's been working behind the scenes, building a foundation, and now the building can go up, okay? So for you early degree placements, for many of you middle degree placements, you're going to be experiencing that in the 5th house, which we'll talk about, and for the rest of you late degree placements, that's going to be in the 4th house. Okay, so early degree placements and middle degree placements are the ones that were born in the first 20 days or so of the sign, okay? Or if you're watching for your rising sign, 0 through 19 or so degrees. The late degree placements are the rest of you, later in the sign, later in the degrees, over 20, in the 20s for the degrees or at the end of the sign. And so the early and middle ones, Jupiter is waking up in your 5th house, and the 5th house has to do with, so look for this expansion and growth and optimism and good luck and focus involving children, creativity, romance, hobbies, and just general fun. This sector is the energy of children, and it could be your own. So many people will find out they're pregnant in this cycle. Many people will have birth children in this cycle or have notable things occur with children they already have. People who don't have their own children may wind up having something notable with working with children come up. Or it could be a creative baby. So you can conceive of, be moving forward with stewarding this creative project. Also, acting, singing, athleticism, anything that puts you out in a group, leading or being seen is here. And just like I said, fun for the sake of itself. So many people believe that your chance to find your true love is especially accentuated when Jupiter is moving through your 5th house. So if your perfect person hasn't come in yet, this transit can help that. And it's not just this month. This will be going on until the end of the year. And for you middle and late degree placements, it will extend out even beyond this year. It will go into next year. So be looking for that. Also do note, since we have so much energy in retrograde, if you're looking for your true love, it might wind up being somebody that you already know. And it's good to be open to people coming back from the past in a new way or back in a romantic context. There's more energy around that than meeting someone brand new that you've never heard of or talked to before. For the rest of you that have, for the late degree placements, Jupiter is working to expand your home sector. So you may have noticed in recent times, you've been having notable housing things coming up, moving, renovating, trying to lay this home security, the security of your sacred place to be. So Jupiter is continuing to work there. Also can be expanding your family. Many people will have multiple residences from this type of transit. You can get one house, get a second home, or have a presence in a bunch of different places. It can also add to your family. So again, through children or in-laws or somebody coming in where your general sense of family gets expanded. Also could be roommates or just the energy of more energy at home, which could be more people moving in your house, people visiting your house, things like that. So we talked about the eclipses, we talked about, okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about was this energy of finances. Your financial sector is very much accentuated at this time. So rewards for work that you've done in the past may come in, or other things related to the inheritances or other people's money could wind up boosting your individual income. So look for manifestations, opportunities involving making more money, your income, or other money related or material item related things. This alternatively, or at the same time, could have to do with living more simply and living more sustainably and saving more. So it's this focus on money and what you do, and resources, and what you do with those resources. There could be your value system changing with the way that you spend money. So those are the things that are most on my mind for Cancer placements this month, breaking out of the matrix of your old experience. If you'd like to see a written horoscope by me for you, go to cozybysweetstarlight.com. At cozybysweetstarlight.com, I have lifestyle blogs written by myself and other up-and-coming bloggers that I'm helping to support their work to bring them to you. And you can see my written horoscopes that supplement what I do in the videos. So that gives you additional information and you get to see some things in writing. Also, if you're a traveler, or if you're going to be traveling this month, or anytime soon, check out Astrology Kissed Travel Bliss. That's my travel astrology site where I do astrology, travel reports, and fun astrology inspiration blogs and things like that. Okay, so let's talk more about the general implications of these eclipses. Let's talk about the Mars retrograde, what the motto is for this month to maximize the potentials. So we're going to get into all that now. So the theme of the month for all signs for July 2018 is 2 eclipses equals major transformation. We've been talking about these eclipses. We've got 3 in this cycle. 2 of the eclipses in this cycle are in July. The 3rd one is in August. Whenever it's eclipse time, drastic changes, expected and unexpected new paths open up. Very often there's a complete surprise trajectory change that takes us in a completely different direction. And in some cases, it brings to fruition things intended or planned. And sometimes it can shorten the time frame for something that we had originally thought would be further out, where we wake up one day and we had planned something for the future and all of a sudden it's here now. So this eclipse time is a very powerful time, and there are other things going on besides these eclipses. So we're going to talk about these astrological transits to note for July. Mars is still in retrograde. So Mars just turned officially into retrograde at the end of June. I have been talking about this for a long time because it's a very long transit, and there is a period of time before and after a retrograde transit of a personal planet like Mars that is very long, and you start to feel the energies well before the retrograde actually occurs. Okay, so we've been talking about this Mars retrograde energy. We started feeling it in May, it officially turned in June, and now in July we are fully into Mars retrograde. So this Mars retrograde is bringing permission to rest and to focus on relaxation and recreation, and what I like to call comfortable productivity. It's not that you can't get anything done in Mars retrograde. You absolutely can. You just have to follow the cues. It's not a time to be over ambitious, unless, of course, if you have Mars retrograde at birth, sometimes you can get more done during this transit than you do normally. But you would know it, because if you're trying to do something and it's working out and it's flowing really easily and you're not having roadblocks and you're not having frustrations, then that's totally fine. When you need to take the cue to rest and back off is when you're pushing and it's not working out the way that you wanted it to. So instead of just continuing to push, taking a step back is what is well indicated when Mars is in retrograde. So to second this notion, we have other astrological forces that are saying the same thing. Mercury is going to go into retrograde, and that's going to be on July 25th. And once that happens, it's going to further bring the past back into the present. So the shadow period for Mercury retrograde starts early in July. So essentially the whole month is very much in this energy of things coming up from the past. So opportunities from the past, ideas from the past, projects from the past are all very much indicated to focus on at this time. At the same time as all of this energy is going on, we have the eclipses happening, and the eclipses may bring change and opportunities to act on, whether you want them or are ready for them or not, or maybe you are. But since there's so much energy pointing towards the past, a lot of times it will be things from the past finally coming to fruition now. So it's totally fine to say yes to the things that come to you. You just want to have an awareness of maybe not having all of the information, maybe the project being different or turning out different than you think. And the big key here is to be the spider. Okay, the eclipses and the retrogrades both tell us the same story, which is be the spider. So spiders weave their web and they wait for the food to come to them. So that's the kind of time that this July energy is really bringing. It's bringing this just chilling out and waiting and seeing what comes to you, and then you can work with what comes to you as it comes. Okay, so we've also got 5 trines this month. Trines are the most wonderful harmonious aspect in astrology. So I'm going to give you some dates to watch here. Now, the dates that I'm going to list, I'm going to go into some detail about the transits, but if you'd like more detail about the transits I'm talking about or transits that I'm not talking about that are also occurring, then definitely go to anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter, and you'll receive monthly written reports a month before the relevant time. If you've already signed up for my newsletter and you're not receiving my reports, they're either going into spam, promotions, social, or events folders in your email. So look for them in there and then transfer them into your inbox so that you get my mailings. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the dates to note. The first one, actually, I'm going to just list these sweet spot dates. They're trines, they're beautiful aspects where things can gel together in a wonderful way, where there's just little sweet spots. So in the days around July 5th, July 8th, July 11th, July 13th and 14th, July 25th, we're having this beautiful aspect of trines on all of those days. So look out for little boosts at that time. The next date to note is July 12th, and that is this partial solar eclipse at 20 degrees of Cancer. So for everyone, every sign, this can bring new things involving home, family, houses, real estate, anything involving home. If you're an architect, it could involve your work. You know, anything that involves homes or housing or family or childhood or psychology, childhood psychology especially. All of these things are very high on the list of potential manifestations from this solar eclipse energy. So in the days around July 12th, you'll especially feel this eclipse energy, but remember that you could have gotten news about this manifestation that may come in as soon as May, because we've got like 6 to even sometimes 8 weeks ahead of time is when pieces of the story start coming in for these eclipses, okay? But that is a date to note. I always try to avoid doing anything important on the eclipse dates. You just kind of want to try to be available for whatever shows up. On July 27th, the second eclipse is a total lunar eclipse, and this one is at 4 degrees, almost 5 degrees of Aquarius. So here we'll see a lot of activity along the lines of friends, friendships, acquaintances, social media, groups, humanitarian efforts, internet-based projects, large organizations, anything having to do with innovation or technology. So look for those things. And again, this stuff could come in months before or months after. We're moving along a continuum with these eclipses, but that's on July 27th is when the actual event occurs. Okay, so some dates to look out for that could bring some challenges. And you'll notice that some of the dates I listed for the trines that have some sweet spots, there are also some challenging aspects on those dates. So you may feel them on the same day, something positive happening, something challenging happening, or you may feel one day it's a little pocket of a sweet spot and the next day is a little bit of a challenge. It's always hard to be black and white about how these energies are going to manifest, but I just want to list them so that you can be aware. On the 5th of July, on the 9th, on the 24th, on the 25th, and on the 26th and 27th, we've got challenging aspects on those dates. We have some squares, we have some oppositions, and these bring pressure to change, basically, or put pressure on viewpoints or ways things have been done. You know, they're basically, I describe them as the pressure. Well, the squares are the pressure that creates the diamond. So sometimes if we have a diamond that we want to create in our lives, or a vision for this diamond, we have to do something about it. And if we're not doing something about it, or we're not sure what to do, this pressure comes in the form of this square. And it either shows us what we have to do or makes us fed up so that we actually take action. So you might see that energy show up this month from those squares. The oppositions bring overstimulation. Overstimulation is when there's a lot of busyness in opposing forces in our lives. So we've got an opposition in Leo and Aquarius in the 5th, so that could have to do with your own creativity versus the group, like your own flow versus the group flow. And then we've got another opposition on the 24th with Venus and Virgo opposing Neptune and Pisces. So this can be a lot of push and pull about the seen world and the unseen world, the logical world and the abstract world, and the intuitive world, you know. So you'll see some overstimulation with trying to balance being in multiple dimensions at once. Okay, so the things to note for this month: lots of sweet spots, some challenging points, and definitely massive opportunities for change, massive opportunities for things coming to fruition. The keynote here is to try to not plan too much unless you're very intuitively directed, or unless it comes to you to be planned for that time and that's out of your hands. And if something comes to you, then it's definitely fine to say yes to it. Just be aware that there may be changes that are continuing to happen over the rest of the retrogrades, and just to navigate as consciously as possible, leaving as much flexibility in your arrangements as possible. Mars retrograde is continuing this energy of relaxing, taking vacations, taking trips, doing nothing. And in that space of doing nothing, this is one of the most magical things that I love about retrograde. So people say, well, you can't do anything in retrogrades, and it's totally not true. It's just not a time to push. It's not a time to go against the tides. But what you can do, I always call it the shavasana of transits, because in that few minutes of shavasana at the end of a yoga practice, that integration, that quiet time, is when the insights come, when the clarity comes, when the important pieces come, when the breakthroughs come. So this Mars retrograde, this month of July, is like this shavasana point, where from that quiet space, pure genius can pop in and change everything. So these are the things that are most on my mind for the month of July. If you would love to learn astrology with me, check out my astrology apprenticeship program. I also have lots of other cool educational offerings on my site, both to change your vocation or just for your self-development and growth. I have my Astaria School of Practical Magic, which is a really fun way to work with the unseen realms and bring them into the seen realms. Definitely check out my hubby's offerings, B.R. Newman, at IamHelios.com, IamHelios.com. He's got lots of sound frequencies that help to balance out challenging transits and also help to empower you during the transits that we have going on. So definitely check his site out. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.